All right. Hey, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, the Ring of Hire Show. It's just going to be a quick show tonight about peak season and some things that are going on in the world of staffing. And I'll be right back right after this. Wow, it's always quick. Hey, tonight, everybody, it's just a quick, brief show here tonight, about 15 minutes only. And I wanted to discuss, bring up about peak season, what everybody's been learning in the world of staffing. It has been crazy, right? It's December 2nd, probably about 2 more weeks of really hitting it hard in the logistics. That'll calm down. We're still trying to figure out whether it's going to go into quarter 1 with all the backlogs, and who knows. Quarter 1 could still be in a slight peak, but I was reading a lot today, and a lot of the posts on this great resignation. Join the movement, right? Just go. The companies. If you've been at a company for 5 years, 10 years, and you jumped aboard this great resignation. I always hear it over. I'll get some heat for this again, but just do it. You don't have to be proud of it. Just leave. Hey, Bill. Hey, I'm doing a short show, Bill, tonight, but it's just about just some updates on staffing and the peak season. And I get irritated when I see that great resignation I was talking about on LinkedIn. I saw a couple posts, like everybody was proud of it. Hey, I quit my job today, and now you want work-life balance, or you want to leave for 20,000 less a year. Well, that's great. Do it. But to be a part of this, like a movement of, you know what? I don't know. Great resignation. Listen, you have a good job. Your employers worked with you for years, but it's your choice. It's just a big circle. They're coming right back around. So there's going to be somebody else that's going to take your place. It only opens up. It's not going to be, you might feel great about, listen, and if it works for you, that's great. I shouldn't say it like that. But if you want to enjoy the ride, like quit and think the grass is greener always on the other side, then, you get that good feeling. Yeah, I quit. You start that other job and then you're like, okay, I got to pay my bills, or, there's always two sides. So I'm trying to be reasonable about it, but I wanted to touch on the great resignation there. Peak season so far. I'll tell you what, excuses. You could have 10 interviews set up, 15. One will show. One. You spent all the time setting up interviews. You hear it all the time. You're setting up the interviews, and I'll be there, and guess what? You wait. Nobody shows. A lot of times, you'll want to call them and ask them why. But think about it. What purpose to do that? You're just you're accepting that behavior. I'm sometimes to the point to where it's, listen, if you can't make it to 2 interviews, forget it. I mean, I get there's an emergency situations, but normally your car doesn't break down before your interview. Maybe sometimes, rare, but all of a sudden family emergencies pop up, and I take that lightly, respectively, but 5 minutes before the interview, the excuses go on and on and on and on. And some companies will say, hey, did you reach out to him? Yeah, but what do you want them for? If they're going to really just do it to you again, they're going to make every excuse in the book. And I think that's just the way things are right now. Nobody has accountability. Hey, Rob, there he is. Wow, we got Bill and Rob. Hey, we got two tonight. That's good. But nobody has the accountability anymore. You've accepted. If a candidate reaches out to you and says, hey, can we reschedule for next week? You say yes. Yes. Okay. We'll wait. Think about it. I know it, like we talk about pre-COVID and COVID now, whatever, whatever you want to say. I'm tired of saying it like that. But if you didn't make your interview, you didn't make your interview. I mean, you didn't get the job or something happened, but you gotta come up with some rules and boundaries with everybody, or everybody's on the same page that, listen, there's no excuses. You might have a certain one, but it's got to stop. You got to just say, okay, the majority of the businesses are doing okay right now. Listen, if you're in peak right now, you have what you have. You realize right now, especially in logistics, you're not going to get really any more, not these next 2 weeks. Some companies, believe it or not, Bill, this is going to, and Rob, in the Lehigh Valley are laying off. There's just some companies with the clothing, huge during peak. They're starting to lay them off, and they're starting to let the temporaries leave early. Whoa. When I heard that today, I was like, you let them leave early, send them home. Those days are over. You just lost them. You say, go ahead. Hey, you're only going to live on 20 hours this week for a staffing company, and you got a real problem. You need to talk with, if you're in the staffing industries, and you need to talk to your clients and say, listen, educate them very well too, because if you start sending those candidates home, it's just going to go back to the way it was normal, more and more. The companies will just say, well, send them home. We don't need them. They're gone. They're going to go that 2 days off, 3 days off, because you can start your work, do your drug screen, whatever, start tomorrow. So you got to come out as an employer and a staffing company or something. You got to set some kind of boundaries. I mean, look at the hourly rate, right? You went from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Whew. You can't make it up. 20. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I was thinking tonight about a living wage, and maybe Bill, you can answer this. What is a living wage, or Rob? What is a living wage that you consider? Do you take the fast food industries, the small businesses, and all different in your town? What is a living wage to them? Are they responsible to pay a living wage? Because now they're suffering. They're the ones that are really hurting. You can't, some of these local stores down here can't pay $25 an hour, and they can't even pay 15, 16. You'll never be able to buy. If that continues on this path, they're the ones that are going to have to really figure out the problem, the smaller businesses and fast food. Listen, I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I don't know what I can even say to help staff. I heard someone suggested for help out in logistics. Someone said he probably couldn't do it, and someone said I would move fast enough, 25 and up. Let me read that again, Rob. I heard around someone suggested for help out in logistics. Someone said he probably couldn't do it, and someone said I would move fast enough, 25. That's what I mean. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing the hourly rate increase. I'll tell you what, it's time for some of the rates that came up within companies. But again, back to that small business, I wish I had an answer for them. I don't even know what you can do to get people to make $10, 11 hours. Here, I was waiting for that, Bill. It depends on your lifestyle. Many people live above their means. It is. And that's why I asked you. I figured you'd come up with a question like that. And he's right there. What do you do? Listen, I've seen, and this was the truth. I mean, we started out with smaller bonuses before everything to get people to come back, right? And all the money. So then we increased the bonuses up again, maybe to 1,000, then to 1,500, then to 2,000, then to 3, then to 7,000, then to 10,000. Sooner or later, that's got to stop. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying it the difference, but it's got to stop sometimes, because how's that working for you? Because if everybody sees, sometimes with bonuses, it's great. Sign on bonuses. Listen, sign on, attendance, monthly. Geez, why don't they're giving sign on bonuses just to sign a friggin' application. They're giving you their bonus just to show up. Give a bonus just to say hello, right? Give them $100 bonus for that. Give them $100 for showing up for 8 hours or something like that. Do something. Let's just give them a bonus for walking on the path, walking along the logistics center, or, opening the door for somebody. Let's give them a bonus for that. Before you know it, everybody's trying to keep up with everybody. And I get it, but you can't compete that way. Here on the western side of PA is much more reasonable compared to the eastern side. I agree with that, Russ. Rob, I agree with that in the demographic area, but I don't know what they keep saying about the bonuses. I mean, I love them. I think it's great to give people money. I wish I got it. I think a lot more people would love to see those bonuses that are working now. So they've been working at the companies for a while. And then you get all these newer people coming in, and some companies don't give all that to them, and they're giving these people to come in. And I get that again, but I don't know what to say about it. The bonuses, do you keep them long term? I don't know. The shift differential, that's always that's one of your things. But a lot of people, I know, work-life balance. We've talked about it. How many shows have you been on that talk about work-life balance? Everybody talks about it. That's all they do. You talk about it. You post on LinkedIn. Let me see what Bill heard. It cannot keep going. Bonus and salary. It has to stop. And I'm going to leave that up there for a minute, because that is what this show is about. I don't know what to say, Bill, sometimes on what some of the companies are doing. I get the smaller ones are trying to keep up with the bigger ones, but then the bigger ones, it all comes down to, when we talk about the work-life balance, right? When people actually say it, right? Hey, Dave, hey, James, you had a great guest tonight, man. She was awesome. I literally turned the TV off and watched your show. And I'm sorry, Catherine, or you have to post her name on here, and I'm going to give her a shout out. But I normally don't just watch the TV show, but she really, really talked about sales and management that I really enjoyed. So please tell her that, she was a great guest for you. But when does it stop? When, right? Like right now, right? You've increased everything. Now it's mellowing out. So like, say, for example, some of the companies now are laying off people, right? This is what I predict. I predict that I can see what's happening right now. Some of the companies are going to start laying off right now because of their peak has slowed down a little bit. Not everybody's in total peak, but that's going to start coming down for the holidays, right? You're going to have your peak season for your Nutrisystems, cold storage, and all that. You're going to get that, but you're going to start seeing it leveling off. It's going to level off. And I believe what's going to happen is your rates are going to stay where they're at. If they're at $15, $16, $18, $20, they're going to stay. But the staffing company is going to have an influx of all temporary employees again, looking for work. That's where the companies, it's going to start. You're going to see this in about 2 or 3 months, I believe. Now I'm trying to figure it all out. They're going to turn, and now it's going to be back to a companies. Sometimes it's going to be back to a companies. You're going to have your companies that are horrible anyway. In the Lehigh Valley, they can't fill a job. I wouldn't even recommend some of my friends referrals, right? I wouldn't even recommend the majority, some of them that I know about, like 10 of them. I wouldn't even send them there. But that's my opinion. And that's why I feel that way, because I've known about them. When you know the companies that you've worked with, you know that I wouldn't send somebody there. But back to that, you're going to see it start to turn. It's going to start to turn. The staffing companies are going to start getting now an influx of people. Sometimes that, I think, is going to lower down the rates for the staffing industry. They're going to have to come back in at a lower rate to get those candidates hired on full-time with the company, to bring them back up to like the $25 range, if that's where the bigger companies in logistics are staying. That's what I predict is going to be there, because it's got to level off. And I'm trying to figure out how is it going to level? But what I've heard today on a lot is people laying off, and then that just resonated with me on, I think that's what's going to happen. So, James said, Christine Sizemore. Yes. Anybody, Bill or Rob, you want to check this, just like, yeah, she was awesome. She talked about sales and being in management. And I enjoyed that, James, because the transfer, like, I love sales. When I started out into management, worked at branch manager and all that stuff like that, then market manager. It's right to have like a leader as a supervisor and management, and you have to balance it. And that's what the show was. I liked how she talked about that. But back to that about a living wage is now what? We've seen all the perks, right? I haven't seen the ones I'd like to see. I mean, I'd like to really see if, when you talk about that company culture, Bill mentioned it a couple of times when Robert, we talked about it, was you need to show it, not just say it. Well, like if you just put out a saying, hey, we promote childcare or something like that, right? You got to show that. And we talked about that. Show the advertising of the perks. Just don't say work-life balance. When you put your ad out there and it says, and I read them, I read all the companies. That's how I learn everything is I follow a lot of the companies on LinkedIn and on social media, and it just says, we create work-life balance. Well, how do you do that? I mean, this is where I've told everybody before I'm getting off subject here, but some of the job postings are, you need to create your job posting and start it out with everything about your company, right? Because usually everybody clicks on that. You want to see that hourly rate or salary, right? You need to write out your job description a little bit longer, everything about the company. Get that attention to where instead of that person just doesn't go and look all the way down, oh, $20 an hour, I can't work for that. But if you start out everything, listen, it's not the magic pill that's going to cure it, but these are the little things that you can do that when you change a couple other different processes, you'll start to see a little bit of a change. Bill said if we all had a crystal ball to see in the future, and I don't see anything coming back. It's all false advertising. See the difference there, and you don't know. And I wish I did. I swear to God, I beat myself and I read everybody's ads and I look on social media. Like I said, I look at the bonuses. I look at the hourly rates. I look at the shift differentials, the company cultures, the staffing companies, and everybody's posting on, hey, this is a great company. You have a lot of great people within your company for referrals. And I've said it before, referrals. If your candidate or your employees are happy, give that. Man, I would increase that referral bonus. Think about it. I know the other bonuses are great, and they're eventually, like we said, they're going to level out. But man, that referral, if you have 300 people in your company or 500, right? And every day at that shift meeting that you start up and say, hey, everybody, hold three $100, four $100 bills right up and say, do you know that this can be yours if you bring in one of your friends? It's not rocket science. You can post it on you can walk in some centers and you'll see some of the postings. Listen, the dust is so thick on them, they don't even change everything. You've walked in, you can tell right away what a company does and what they promote just when you start walking into the center itself, the site, logistics center, wherever you want to go. You can see how neat it is. You can see if it's organized, and referrals, are the way to go. There she is. We're going to reschedule. We've had a hard time this last time. My son had basketball and she had an issue, so we have to reschedule it. Bill said big companies will pay $1,500. Wow, that's got to be something, Bill, for trades and that would be crazy. I mean, if you even increased the referral bonus in the logistics centers, some of them are like 300, but if you went up to 600, you're getting the best $600. And then when you look at all the other things that you have to pay, that might work. That might really, really work, to increase that. But, I wanted to talk about that tonight and bring it up again about what are you doing that's something different that's working in the world of staffing besides increasing the hourly rate. all the bonuses, all the perks, all the shifts. I will say on the shifts wise that I wish some companies would make them a little bit more family friendly, because childcare, everybody that I speak with, a lot of it comes down to, I'm going to say 30 to 40% people discuss about childcare, being an issue, that one of the family members have to drive here and leave and can work at a certain time. That is one of the biggest overlooked problems that I wish companies would take a look at. And I understand when you have 500 to 1,000 employees. I really wish I could even figure out a way to even give an idea on how do you do that. How do you help a family, like some good employees that really want to work, that maybe can't make that at 4 in the morning or 5 or 6, but they can do that 7. But then you can't have 10 different shifts, and trying to keep track of all that. I get it. I wish I had the answer for that solution. It's just something that you can sit there and say, well, you start here at 7, you start at 7:30, you start at 8. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Hey, Daryl, how you doing, sir? Daryl's always in Texas. How's it going, sir? But you've been busy, I can imagine. But Daryl, we were just talking about some of the staffing issues and with peak season right now and how it's kind of slowing down. And I think you're going to have to work with what you have. You're not going to see an influx. You're not going to you might pick up maybe 6, 7, 10 people each day, if that. But people are still out there looking for jobs. And they're the ones that I told you that just leave. They just job hunt, job, 3 in a week. Then they come back. They leave again. They come back. They're the kind of ones I've told you before that I don't invest any time in. It's just worthless on that, and to cater to their behavior. You can have all the excuses that you want, that we talked about, not showing up for interviews and all that, but sooner or later you got to cut that umbilical cord. You have to stop catering. I'm going to take heat on this one, and I'm going to end it here. Is you have to stop catering to a lot of the employees' needs. And I know I'm going to get so many messages on that. It's going to start later on tonight. But what I mean by cuddling is, listen, you're a company, you have to have some boundaries and rules, and you can't cater to people every single thing that they want. As a leader, I would love to be able to say yes to everybody. You wouldn't be able to say, sure, we can do that for you. Sure, we can do that for you. Oh, of course we can do that for you. Would you like us to Uber for you? How about we order dinner for you tonight too? You know what I mean? I know I sound a little bit ignorant with that, but we cuddle and cuddle and cuddle. And between that and the staffing shortages and everybody just going off, I'm going to end it on this, but look at your company. Look at the company that you work for. And if you're a manager, a VP, regional, what are you doing to sell your company besides the hourly rate and bonuses? Besides that, is there anything else that you can discuss about your company? Put it out there on social media. Put something out there that's letting people know that you're there, what you represent. You want them to get back to you, and then you want people to come to you. You want people to come to your work. But if you're not putting anything out there to show it, and we listen to the same excuses every day that we come on LinkedIn here and we see shows about, like I said, everything that we've talked about here. The great resignation, good for you, go. But all of that stuff, we cuddle, and then we make rules, and we try to cater to everybody, and then it causes problems within the workforce, if that makes sense. Companies want more or less. Also, companies want quality over quantity over quality. Yes, Rob. And to answer that, I'm going to get going here. I want to read that again. What you just said. Companies want more or less. Also, companies want quality over quantity. They're the kind of companies that you've seen and that maybe you've worked with. But there are companies out there that are not like that. They're the ones that if you're a candidate right now, if you're looking for workers and, you're a candidate, do the research on the company. You're going to see it don't always go by all the reviews. You'll get reviews are always like a negative anyway, but they're a positive. But a good company, do your research on before you go there to hire work for them. Read their website, go on their website. If their website's not up to par, if it's old, it's outdated, you know what I mean? If you go to their social media platform and they don't have a social media platform page, or they have and it hasn't been posted in a year, make a decision off of that. Do you call the companies and nobody, you're looking for work, you've sent resumes and nobody calls you back? That's one of the things. All these little things add up. Do you see their ad on Indeed and Career Builder, right? Or all the Zipper? Look right under that first, second page. If you're not paying some big, big bucks, you're not there. Does that say something? That says to me, sometimes they got a lot more money to be on that front page. You got a lot more money. So if you got a lot more money, you got a little bit more that you can play with, but it just doesn't average out, what long-term opportunities exist. Dara, I know what you're saying there. I don't really have an answer to that. It's just, I just think it comes down to just doing your research, like I just said, about finding that company that you really want to work for. And you might not know about it. If you go on Google, a lot of people, listen, just utilize the tools that you have to find those companies. It might be a smaller one that you'd be like, whoa, you overlooked that, right? So it's $1 or $2 less, or maybe $5,000 a year less salary, right? But it's a really great company to grow with, that you want to get hired there and retire. You're not going to find any more of them as much anymore. Listen, I mean, I've made 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 changes in my career. 6. That's not too bad. I mean, I've stayed 13, 7, 10, like that. But you got to find that loyalty in a company. You got to look for, when you walk into a company and you see, wow, these people have been here for 20 years. That tells you something, right? So everything that I've said that you need to show about your company, you want to see that. You want to be able to show the candidates that you care. Show the candidates that you take the time on social media to talk about your company. Talk about your company. Pick yourself a person to do some videos and talk about your company. Represent them well, and just really, people will come to you. If the rate is, here we go again, right? The hourly rate is, middle. It doesn't have to be the highest or the lowest. You can be in that middle right there and offer just as many good things, and that company might be for you. So again, do your research, look into them, and see what works for you. But I just wanted to talk about peak season tonight and some of the new stuff, and I appreciate everybody as always coming on the show. And it's always nice just to sit back and throw some ideas that people have and what they're going through right now. But on the ending note, if anybody does watch this, some people do, right? Look at that childcare. Look at that childcare issue, and you might be able to solve some of your problems. Are hiring managers discussing, or is it their needs over mine? Are hiring managers discussing, or is their needs over mine? That's a good. I know what you're talking about, Dara. Are hiring managers discussing, or is it their needs over mine? Yeah, I would say yes. If the company's needs, I'm pretty sure that's what you're trying to say, is if it's your decision or if it's theirs. It's going to end up being theirs. Is there anything out there that have a long career any longer? Rob, I'm going to give you the honest. I don't see that anymore, to be honest. Maybe the tech companies, but they get moved around. I don't see companies out there now that, I always say, listen, I'm 55. I don't care. You need to settle down eventually, but it's increasing now to where within 10 years, you could have 2 to 3 jobs. There's an average, you don't have that 10, 15, 20 years, 25. You have them now that are there, but the odds of you keeping them there for that long, I wish, Rob, there was still jobs out there like that. Really do. Because when I was in the manufacturing back then, you got your pension. I left because I chose to, but I could have retired from there if I sit back and look at it now. So, Daryl, sell yourself, sell your company, sell the opportunity. Correct. And that's a good way to put it, Daryl. But on that note, everybody, again, childcare, childcare, childcare. When you go to work tomorrow, suggest, hey, is there anything we can do for people that need childcare? Can we change a shift, something? Can we help them work for our company and be loyal to us because we're working with them? Because when you work with the employees, they work with you, and then it comes out honesty, integrity, all that leadership, everything's going to pay off. So on that note, everybody, have a great night, and I will be back on Sunday.